Hello, lovies. It's me, your passionate living coach, Abiola Abrams, broadcasting from my chair, my couch, actually. I have something so exciting for you today. We are going to be discussing the spirituality of relationships with Dr. Carmen Harra. Now, Dr. Carmen Harra, if you're not familiar, she is the best-selling author of 7 books. She is an intuitive psychologist. We're going to get into specifically what that means a little bit later. And she's a certified relationship coach. And so it is my honor and my pleasure to be able to have this love class conversation about spirituality and relationships. Welcome, Dr. Carmen.
Thank you so much for having me, Abiola. You're such an amazing spirit. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be talking to you.
Oh, I'm enjoying all of the energetic yellow and pink, two of my favorite colors, beaming from you.
Absolutely.
Now,
And the pink means a new beginning for everybody who thinks of love. They should wear pink because you want to start new, start fresh, let go of the past. Never wear dark colors because they influence your field of energy. And yellow is the color of royalty. And I think we're all royal. I think we all are connected to the divine world. And the Queen of England, she always wears yellow at major events, and people probably don't know why the yellow canary ring or why the pink diamond, because the significance is a new beginning and bringing royalty into your life.
now, I did not know that yellow was associated with royalty. I knew purple. I knew that purple is, associated with royalty, but I didn't know that about yellow.
Purple is actually associated with the planet Neptune. It is associated with the metaphysics, the world beyond the physics, and is associated with the top crown chakra, which means spirituality. So when you think of purple, you think of spirituality. You want to be spiritual, get yourself a purple dress, or light a purple candle in your room to become more in tune with the world beyond the physics. So yes, yellow is royalty, and pink is a new beginning, and definitely purple is associated with your class today. And I bet that you probably wear a lot of. I can see the hints of yellow behind you.
Yellow and also purple.
And the purple.
And I'm burning a purple candle. It's lavender.
That's it.
So you are from the legendary land of Transylvania. This is where we hear that all of the vampires come from and the mythical creatures. Can you tell us a little bit about growing up in Transylvania, particularly a life-changing experience that you had when you were only 5?
Oh my God, that part of the world belonged to the Roman Empire. So, and it preserved the Latin language more than Italy, where you think of Rome and you go back 2,000 years ago by the time of Jesus. But the reality is the Latin language was preserved to this part of the world called Romania that actually belonged to the Roman Empire. So the Romanian language is so similar to Latin. And the reality is that, Transylvania was where people heard about Vlad the Impaler, which was one of the emperors, was very, very tough with his people. And he crucified the people who wanting to steal, or he was very vengeful. And from there, the legend was created of the idea of being a vampire associated with his castle, with his tendencies, with the fact that he used to kill people for punishing them by killing them because he wanted them to be honest and fair. And anyhow, anytime I'm speaking to a seminar and I start by saying, my name is Carmen Harra, I was born in Transylvania, everybody start laughing. Everybody associates that part of the world with the idea of vampires, of energy, But bottom line is, when I was 5 years old, and 5, in the concept of time, in the ancient teaching of Kabbalah, is the house of transit of dying. More people die on the 5th day of the week. I mean, Jesus died on Friday. So the number 5 in the days of the week and associated with our birth time and our, age has a lot to do with the 5th dimension. So the 4 level of creation is based on 1, 2, 3, 4, you know. But whenever you go into the fifth level, you actually cross the line into the next dimension. It's like going to another dimension, you know. So it's just so fascinating how exactly at the age of 5, in a symbolic way, I cross into the other dimension. And how I did that, I drowned because I was a kid and I was by a river and I didn't know how to swim. So I ended up seeing myself uh, going through a tunnel of light. Of everybody dying, they talk about the tunnel of light. That moment in which you actually produce in your brain some kind of a state of feeling happy, though you actually detaching from your physical body. So I saw my body in the water, and I also saw me detaching from that body with the same body, almost like a parallel,
like a parallel universe, almost a parallel moment.
It's so fascinating going into that light and seeing all kinds of people.
So
and
you had a near-death experience, basically.
Exactly, a very intense one, very intense and very fascinating. And remember, children till the age of 9, they actually remember the other side, because remember where they're coming from. That's why the movie The Sixth Sense, where the child in the movie, he actually remembered how he saw the dead people, because he actually saw the other side.
Right.
And so he was still connected. So all kids, majority of them, are connected till the age of 9. After the age of 9, you disconnect and you're more in tune with the karma you need to resolve on earth. And that you reconnect closer to your moment when you go on the other side. We all know when we die, believe it or not. We have premonition, we have dreams, we have visitors, we have the other side coming and saying hello to us weeks and even years before we die. So there are all kinds of warning signs telling us when our time is to come to leave the physical world. So what I'm trying to explain people is how the age of 5 symbolized me passing into the other dimension, how we have this ability to see beyond this world and bring the other world into our world. And it's interesting because you get a lot of help from the other side. You get help from the people who are on the other side and who are your relatives. I talk to them all the time.
Wait, now, Dr. Carmen, let's go back to when you were 5 years old. Yes. You still have a very clear vision of what you saw with the white light and the whole experience.
That vision, my sweetheart, will never go away. That image is clearly made such an imprint that I still have that vision in front of my eyes, you know. Wow. That beautiful tunnel and that extraordinary music, those great guys, everybody welcoming me, everybody say, come on in, don't be afraid, you're with us. It's like creating that company. It's interesting, we are born alone, we die alone, you know, but while we are alive, we create that sense of love and oneness and unity with all the people coming in our life.
Yes, well, speaking of love, your own father actually rescued you from drowning, yes?
He did. He did. He was the one. I had that strong karmic connection, and he brought me back. So he saw me going into the water, and for him, he was swimming fast and finally got me, and he said, that's it, my daughter is saved. And he was always a guiding light. And even now, he's there for a very long period of time. He gave me many messages. He gave me a message at his grave, you know, when at his funeral. He said to me, look behind my grave. While I was burying him, he said, look behind my grave. There is a name of a man. You're going to New York. That happened in Romania. You're going to meet this man. So I'm looking behind his grave. And fair enough, he's still there in Romania. The proof is there. And behind his grave, there was a reserved place for a man called Virgil. I landed in New York, and 3 days later, I met my husband, Virgil.
Wow.
When he told me his name, even now I have chills. I sit on a chair and I said, that was my father. My father told me I'm coming to New York and meeting this man. And so I buried my father. I will never forget, on a Tuesday. Wednesday, in the evening, I was in New York. And 3 days later, we had a big event because I was a singer by that time. And he came, this guy, Virgil, my husband, for 27 years, till he himself died. It's interesting that my father sent me a message that you're going to meet a man, but there was a double message. He also said indirectly, one day your husband will die, which happened.
Oh, wow.
So I understood the message many, many years later. That was a very complex message. So talking about my father and his impact into my life was incredible. So, and as of now, he guides me, tells me what I need to do, and warning me if there's something I should avoid. I always talk to him, and I hear his voice, or in different ways he tries to tell me what is good and what is not. So I
Now,
advise everybody to get guidance. Yeah.
quick question about that guidance. I know that as a result of the accidental drowning, that's when your psychic abilities started. Would you consider your father being with you and you being able to speak with him? Is he an angel for you? Is he an ancestral spirit? Are those two different things, or how do you define that?
I define my father like my angel, my protector. Like he was always my protector in the physical world, protecting me and always wanted for me to be safe. So he rescued me, and he continues to rescue me from the other side. So he's my angel. I think he's been my angel through many lives, always being there for me in the most positive way, in the most beautiful way.
Oh, that's beautiful, Dr. Carmen. Okay, so let's talk about Virgil, this man that your father basically sent you to after his passing. So, I know that you talk a lot about the difference between soulmates and life partners. Was your husband for you, without getting too personal, which is strange for me? I know that my viewers are like, without getting too personal, Abiola, like, are we on the right show? But out of respect for, your husband and your loss, was he soulmate or life partner?
He was my soulmate, 100% my soulmate. And one of the reason I came with an idea for people to know the difference between what it is to have like a life partner and be okay with that, and what the huge difference between being with a life partner and being with your soulmate. And through everything I'm writing is through my own experience. And so I'm looking at my life, and I make the difference between one and another, and then I'm coming up with an entire idea or a seminar or a book on the topic, and it's all coming to life from my own experience. So the idea of what it is to be with a life partner versus a soulmate was because I always realized that my husband was that perfect connection for me. And as he's gone already for 3 years, it's very hard on me to settle down with somebody who's just a life partner, because I question myself, will I ever find another soulmate? Will I ever bring someone else that will replace my husband? And the answer is definitely no, because when you have that extraordinary soulmate relationship that feels like indestructible, you feel like it's the two of you against the world. It's just the two of you. You create that perfect sphere. You create the wheel of life. You create the karma is a wheel. And you have to have that perfect match. You half of the sphere, so your soulmate is the other half of the sphere. Because in order to move the wheel, you have to have a perfect fit. So people who are not a perfect fit, they struggle a lot, and they argue a lot, and they're not in tune with each other. So they compromise, a lot of compromise. Now, not that there's no compromise in a soulmate relationship, there's compromise everywhere in life. But there's a huge difference between one and another.
Okay, so this is a great question because of course everyone is interested in a soulmate. People. One of the taglines from Sex and the City was one of the characters. She said, "Well, I've been dating since I was 15. Where is he?"
And that's exactly it. Yeah, a lot of people are dating like forever, and they feel still incomplete. Because the moment you meet the person, like look in my case, who marries somebody in 3 weeks? Who will marry somebody the moment you see them, you just go marry them? And it's not only me, he felt the same way. We look at each other like the sense of deja vu, like knowing each other. I had flashbacks of other lives. I saw myself with him thousands of years ago, looking different. And I saw myself with very long hair at the age of 16, and him looking with mustache and wearing a hat. I had visions of the two of us, which I realized were in different times. that also made me believe that yes, we don't live only one life. The soul comes and choose another body and can come back in this field of energy, and come back here to fulfill karmic issues. And what I felt, and interestingly enough, I always knew my husband is not going to reach 60, and he didn't. And I knew that when I was in my 20s, but of course I choose to stay with him. But I think I'm a pretty good numerologist. I know how to calculate our birth code, the divine code. I also know how to calculate how long we're gonna be around, and everything is physical. So when I did his birth code, and that was many years ago, we're talking of 30 years ago, I said, oh my God, my husband is not gonna reach 60, and he
Did you tell him that?
No, I never said that. On the contrary, he used to joke with me like, oh, you got to go first, but jokingly, and I'm going to still be here taking care of the house. And it was the other way around.
Well, here's a good question that, given that you were so successful in finding your soulmate and having a happy relationship, and now you are wanting to hope for another soulmate, people often wonder, do you only get one soulmate? Because I believe that, you have several different soulmates, like a parent could be a soulmate or a best friend. So do you feel like if we miss the person, are we done? Or
No, you can have different soulmates. I completely agree. You may never find them in a lifetime. That's also possible. You go through life and you have different life partners, but never find your soulmate. And sometime one day you did, when it's late in life, you find your soulmate. I used to do couple therapy in New York, and I had a couple who I will never forget. She was 62, he was 30. So everybody was against that marriage. So she was 32 years older than him.
wow.
He, on the other hand, constantly claimed that she is his soulmate, and he cannot be with any other woman than her. And I saw the love that this man had for that woman, and there was no age difference between. It was just love, just pure vibration of love, nothing else.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But that love was so authentic and so real and so magic that I will always remember them together. And everybody was against them, but they were exactly the typical soulmate relationship. The two of them against the world. So they became like one person. They were inseparable. That happened like 15, 20 years ago. I still question where they are right now because I haven't been talking to them in a while. But they for me will always be that amazing couple in which age difference doesn't matter, race doesn't matter, color of the skin doesn't matter. Nothing matters. There's only one thing, that pure energy, that amazing vibration of love.
Well, I agree with you 100%. And that's what we all want. That's what we all want, that kind of, unconditional, radiant, juicy love. One of the things that you said in a previous video that I saw is that you know that it's your soulmate when you fall in love with their flaws. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I mean, you meet somebody and you see that he has, like me and my husband, just to go back to my own experience. My husband used to smoke. He used to have all kinds of addiction issues. He was very traumatized by the fact that he lost his own mother when he was 20 years old. His mother was 42 and she died on crossing the street. She was hit by a bus. And he could never heal that in him. So when I met him, one of his flaws were his weaknesses, his unsettled karma with his mother. Every single day he mentioned her. Every second week he saw her in a corner of the room, So and you're talking about a man, and usually man will deny having that kind of a connection, or they will say, well, I don't believe in this, Man will say, I don't believe in the spirit world. I don't believe in anything. I live in a pragmatic way. But reality is that when you go through such kind of an experience, my husband in many ways was very intuitive. This trauma made him very open to the other side. So I fall in love with all his issues. He had a lot of issues, But that had nothing to do. There was no obstacle, We were to be together, to heal each other, to help each other overcome, to build something. We built a beautiful family. We made our life. And it's interesting, life is give and take, give and take. You can never have everything out of life. The the moment we thought that we have it all, we had a house in New York, we had a house in Florida, we had a good life. Our kids, our three children graduated from college. So we were so happy that we as parents, we did everything. Then he got sick. So something happened. So that perfect life is not perfect, you know. It's give and take. God gives you this and then takes something else in return, you know.
Now, you spoke about in your relationship while he was dealing with these various addiction issues, and you were loving him through that, and he was loving you through whatever issues you had. Is the purpose of relationships to come together and heal each other? What do you feel is the spiritual purpose of us coupling?
Relationship is the most complex, the most extraordinary thing. You know, the word relationship comes from the Latin word that means restore. So there are things within you that you need to restore. There were a lot of things in our life that he wanted me to restore. My confidence, the fact that I came from Romania, $40 in my pocket, the confidence that I can do a business, the confidence that I can do something with my life, the confidence of becoming a mother. So he was a reflection of everything I needed to work, you know, and he reflected himself in me. So we were so complementary and so good for each other. And definitely a relationship has the number one purpose is the healing purpose. You heal your soul, you know, you're there for each other. And you never allow each other to be disappointed or go down, or, you know, it's like you have that kind of a force within the other person.
Okay, so given that, then, how do we define love karma? I know that you talk about how to discover your love karma. Please tell us first, what is love karma? And then how do we discover it?
Well, definitely, you know, the word love means this energy is life. Love is life. Love is can never be bought, can never be, you know, legislated. Love has no limits, has no boundaries. Love is, you know, unconditional. And in order to, you know, understand the world love, you have to understand that you connect to the divine world, with the infinite world. And love to me means God. You know, these are two words that symbolize the same thing. So in order to sometimes know God and bring God into your life, you have to bring love first. So I really believe that people should always generate only emotions of love, because then their life will be complete. You know, if we in this world will love each other no matter what, this world will be paradise. So we will never have war and conflict. And by the way, you know, when you talk to your life partner or your soulmate with love and with soft words, you coming closer, you coming closer. When you scream at each other, you separate, you alienate, you break in the connection. So people who fight all the time because they want to make an argument, they actually separate. And at some point, the separation can be so difficult to heal. And you're falling apart and apart and apart till the relationship is broken, even if you're a soulmate. So my advice is for people who want to really experience love, be soft, express feelings of love every single day, no matter what your partner does. No matter what mistakes he does, accept everything. Accept. So you were asking me about love karma. So karma means in order to get the two words separated. So love, I try to give a definition of love.
Mm-hmm.
And the definition of karma is that karma is your action, your deeds, and also your memory. A lot of people think of what goes around comes around. That's what karma is all about. But it's much more than that. You know, it's a universal law. It's the foundation of spirituality. I mean, if you're not resolving your karma in a relationship, don't even think about bringing another relationship in, because it's going to be similar with the one that you left unresolved. So there's no reason of going to another man if you feel this one is not good, if you never finish karmically the relationship with him. So that's a good thing. So in order to understand love karma, you have to understand how to bring